Hi, it's Jennifer with Watercolor Girlfriend again. Today we're going to create this abstract watercolor. We're going to use watercolor crayon, watercolors, a gel pen, I like to use white, and we're going to use some stencils as well. So I hope you'll join us and enjoy the painting. So let's start with I'm going to use a white crayon today. You can always choose an oil pastel as well, but this is a little thinner, it's sharpened. I've never tried actually sharpening a oil pastel, but I don't see why you couldn't do it. So I'm going to do some leaf. And you need to kind of like look on an angle to see exactly where you did it's real subtle, so you gotta kind of come in on an angle when you look at the paper to make sure you're getting these leaves actually on the stalk and where you would like them. And they don't have to, be perfect, or, whatever your definition of perfect is. Just have some fun with it. And we're gonna I was thinking I might just do one and maybe do some random leaves, just kind of a few of those around here. And then we'll go out with some other textures, right, and media. So now from here, I'm gonna stick with a color theme I've used before, and that's orange, brown, and red. So I'm gonna start with some orange right away here. And I just like to go for it and get a lot of color on the paper. I do like to bring it off the edge, sort of there. And it doesn't always have to be straight, curved. You could do like more of a straight line across there, make it a hard shape. I do want to get some more color in there though. Now see how it's kind of filling in some of that crayon. It's not oil pastel, but let's see, we'll go at and you can come in with some white crayon a little after this dries a little bit as well. Yeah, I'm starting to like that already. Now, I like to think about what can I do while it's still wet. What I like for this paint. What would I like to do while the paint is still wet? So I'm actually going to grab some brown right away. I'm gonna pull some of that in and let it kind of bleed into the other color there. I think I have something stuck to my brush. There we go. It's making these goofy lines, hard lines, which I just kind of scrub out there. I'd like a little more color in there. And you can also kind of grab some brown and let that bleed in. See how you like that. That can be fun. Okay. Just gonna get rid of that on another piece of paper. And I think I'm going to grab some red right away. And I did another piece like this, if you want to check out that video, where I incorporated just these 3 colors. I hadn't used brown at all in my paintings, and I really wanted to give it a try. It was very far out my comfort zone. Super. Okay. So now you could do other things like the watercolor crayon, which we all like to use. I just have all my crayons in here. And, you know, I have like an orange, and I do have a pink, but I don't even think I have more geared towards a red. So let's see, and you could even use like a white in here as that is kind of drying, if you wanted to bring more of that into your, see, it kind of fills that in a little bit. That can be helpful. So I have orange, so I'm going to use a little orange, and I'm just gonna drag that through there, and you can, you know, I dip it in water, and that can help bring some of the, it's almost like it's melting. It's really fun material to use. So we're gonna leave it like that. Clean up my crayon, and then I'm gonna use a little salt. It looks like maybe some of it's bleeding a little bit over there. I'm gonna throw some of that over here. And I think I'll throw some of it over here too. Okay. So now I think I'm gonna let it dry and come on back. Okay. So it's nice and dry, and I think you can see this without me zooming in too much. The salt left a really nice pattern. I did a little bit more in here, but I didn't do too much salt this go around. Yeah, but I really like it. I'm just gonna brush it off here to the side and worry about getting it into the trash in a little bit. Great, I love these. You know, I can see as it dries, it gives you some, you know, different feel in different areas. And you see how the line work here looks. Yeah, I'm real pleased. So we're gonna move forward, and I'm going to use some masking fluid here. A little squeaky. You know, I should check out some of the other videos. I work with a number of different materials and talk about those that I use each time. You might find some other stuff you like to watch. So I'm going to add a little more brown here and up here. I'm actually going to add some more color in all of these areas. Let's make sure we don't spill this. And I want to go over it with the color, but I want to keep some of the color that's, you know what I'm trying to say here? So I'm going to use masking fluid for that, and I'm just going to use a Q-tip that I've used for this in the past. And different sizes is nice. It's fun to try different medium materials, all that. So, you know, I think I'm gonna leave it with just those 2 areas. Make sure you put this on real tight. You know, it creates a lot of, I'm sorry to say, waste. And, you know, what do you do? If anybody has any tips, you let me know. So I'm just gonna save this. I can use it again later it stays in my little tray. I just have this nice tray of, you know, supplies that I like to use, and this is some watercolor, liquid watercolor, which can give you a real bold pop of color. So I'm actually going to let that dry completely, because if I start working again on it now, I will probably smear it or, you know, muck it up. So we'll be back. Now now that this is dry, I would like to add some more color in some of these areas. I like to wipe it off on another piece of paper there so I don't put too much paint into the water. And back to the brown here. It's not, could use a little more water in there. Can always do so many things. Should I bring it over here? Should I incorporate it into other colors? You know, should I do more of this? It's endless, so it's fun to be able to do these paintings and then do another one and try other things in other paintings. There's lots of different options you can explore. And I'm going to do a little more red. Once again, we'll let that dry and come on back. Oh, you know what? Actually, I like what's going on here. I'm going to use this a little bit. I did want to incorporate that. You could also use, you know, like a fork or whatever kind of stick you have hanging around. Light, you can do heavy kind of strokes. And then I'd actually like to pull away some of this. I really like the texture that creates. You can do that up on this one as well. There we go. And maybe we should do it in the red too and just see what that looks like. We'll see how that comes out. You could even like bring it out. Look at, and put it on the white there. Giving you more of that kind of texture. You could also use like a sponge as you come in and just kind of move it past without real heavy application of color, just pulling it out and then moving it out like that. Could be very interesting. I do like to balance it and then do that kind of thing. Oh, excuse the noise there. There. Yeah, cool. So many options with watercolor. Maybe you didn't even realize. Everybody plays with acrylics a lot, right? But watercolors can be fun as well. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, that took a while to nicely dry. So now I want to use a stencil. And I'm going to use a watercolor pen marker. It has a brush side and it has a finer side, but I'm going to use this side. Just going to come in where the brown already is. So it'll give a darker look, a And you can use it kind of scraggly and not fill it all in. You can fill it all in. Or what I'm going to do here is going to bring over some water over it. Okay, now I want to use that again over here. I think I'm going to use an orange instead. You know what? I'm actually gonna, yep, I wanted to try it out first. All right, when I get to this point of the painting, I often get nervous that it's going to look terrible. Or, you know, you're going to do one last technique and it's gonna look bad. So know that a lot of people do go through that, even people that have been doing this a long time. And there's ways to fix things, so, you know, try not to worry about it and try and have fun instead of panicking. It's paper and water and, you know. So now I'm gonna come in and I'm going to bring my well-used rag. I'm actually going to reduce, but not worry about the water that goes over these areas with the color and that kind of thing. I think it all adds to the depth and richness of the painting, and I'm fine with it. But I do think it helps it kind of, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, blend with the painting instead of compete. Yep, I really, and I think it also complements with the line work and the watercolor work. I think I'm actually going to move this a little bit, add a little more there, so it looks intentional. All these great art words. Okay, so we've got that. I would like to add a little more orange and let that dry a little more. And I like how things, you know, how you can layer the watercolors, but you can still see the bottom through. It's a favorite medium for sure. A little more here. You know, it's a pretty orange color, so I'm gonna. I don't want it to be too overbearing, but I do want the color to, as it moves in over here, it'll draw your eye in instead of receding more when it's lighter. See how this, you kind of don't notice the light area at first. So, something to think about. I want that to sort of blend a little more. Yeah, great. Maybe a smidge more color. And you could use like a watercolor, those liquid watercolors I talked about a minute ago. Those can help, you know, create a richer color as well. Right, and you want to, you know, take a minute and look at what you've done. Do I want something else? You could turn the painting and see. I'll just move untape I keep it taped down so it stays steady. Whoop. Color moves around. You know, maybe you like it better like this. This is also lovely. And sometimes if you paint something completely finished and then you turn it, that could be part of how you planned it, and that can really bring together a painting. Now when I have it this way, I think it's too heavy on this side. But if you have it this way, I think it You know, it's heavier on the bottom, which is kind of just a feel that humans feel. It's, you know, it gives you weight on the bottom, so it's kind of steady and sturdy on the bottom, and then a little more airy on the top. So I'm pleased with many directions that it's taking. I like to tape it down a little. I hope you can still see all that pretty well. Maybe I'll move it up a little better. So we're going to, once again, let this dry and come back. I want to do some splattering after this. And I want to see about this area. Do I love this? What's going on over here? I'm going to think about that while it dries. So it's dried nicely. Now I would like to do some splatter and kind of extend on what we got started with that texture. I'm going to do some red splatter. You could do little like this. That's nice. And I also like to do oh, see how fun is that? And I like how the texture from the crayon still comes through. Yeah, that's exciting. Should we do a little more? Is that enough? Could do a smidge more. Here we go. Did it here as well. It's great. Everything is good and dry now. I'm going to remove these dots. Remember back to those? And you can use your finger like I'm doing here, or you can use a rubber eraser. That can be really helpful as well. They're coming off pretty nice. You want to make sure you have clean hands so you're not getting any other colors or whatever mingled in here. Brush that off and make sure that you've got it all. Yeah, I like that a lot. I think maybe I could have done more of that, huh? It does add a nice appeal to it though. So I wanted to accent some of these leaves, and I tried using a regular crayon, a wax crayon, without a lot of luck. So I moved on to a watercolor crayon. I'm sure you could get a great feel with the oil pastel, but I'm going to use this one. And I like the texture that it leaves on top of the paints. But I did want to pull out some more so that kind of stood out a little more. And again, these are water-soluble crayons, so if you don't love it, you can almost just remove whatever you've put down. Use my fun gel pen. And the dots were nice without this. But I enjoy adding another level to what you've got going on, and I could even like put something in the middle of those to make that pop a little bit more. You could use maybe even just a white pencil. It won't be as, nope, that doesn't even really show up. It's too light. Maybe I should use the gel pen again. And this pattern will help pull that out as well. So what are you thinking? I think it looks pretty good. Okay, I've also found some words I wanted to add to that, but I also want to add a little more color in my brown. So I'm gonna do this. And I'm actually going to use some gel medium. I find it works a little nicer than glue, which will buckle. And this will stay nice and flat. I don't want it too, you know, perfectly lined. I just like that it's a subtle there in the background. I'm sorry, in the foreground here, but not too big and not too bold. Just a nice couple of words there. So I think I'll title that, you know, then Love Ascending. And I think that's gonna do it. Maybe it needs a little more orange. Does anybody feel the same as I do? Now, if I wanted, I could actually go for some liquid watercolor, and that can give me a little bit more of a punch. And let's see how that goes. Now these are kind of supposed to be leaves, so I kind of want to pull that out a little so that's very clear. But I also like the rich color and how that pops. So I have no problem using this. Oh, little brush bit came off. It's great. Okay. I think that's nice. I might even think about turning the painting a little bit. I also have a couple over here that I might accentuate a little bit. You don't get lost in the whole painting, but you notice that there's these leaves. Such a fun piece. I hope you all enjoy it. I'm going to fast forward as I take the tape off. I don't need to wait for that to dry. All right, perfect. Real pleased with how it came out. Maybe even this way, but then you'd have to change your text a little bit, unless you like it that way. Still got some bits from the masking fluid. Yeah, super. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope it inspires you to take up some an abstract. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope it inspires you to take up some watercolor and paint some abstracts of your own. We'll see you next time. Bye.